Well, geez, Mr. President, tell us how you really feel about Fani and President Joe Biden. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. I am Ty Smith, Modern Renaissance Man, and welcome to my channel, Modern Renaissance Man. Do me a favor and double check to make sure that you still are subscribed to my channel, because YouTube don't like Negroes like me who have a brain to intellectually think through things, critically thinking. They don't like information like this getting out to you, the American people. Also, be sure to follow me on all these things you see listed up here and down here if you would, please. And if you like my content and you want my content to continuously be recommended to you, make sure you hit that like button so that this video can be circulated within the YouTube algorithm. And don't fret over the things you see in this video as this video plays out. Those are products and things that I use, like what I'm looking at right now, the camera I use, the mic that I use, the lighting that I use, the keyboard that I use, the mouse that I use. You guys always inquire about it. I'm posting it on here where you can go and purchase it, all right? Appreciate it. All right, folks, let's get ready to get into this story. Donald Trump, before he boards a plane, torches Fani Willis and President Joe Biden, calling both of them criminals. But I know y'all don't want to hear me run my mouth over. You'd rather hear from him. But let me advise you, there is going to be a little bit of background noise here because he's getting ready to board his own personal plane, and he has some choice words to say about both of them. Check it out.
Team, this is the former president.
It's out of control. Biden has no idea what the hell he's doing. He's the worst president in the history of our country. And I have some good news. Where's Brian, Jack? This is a man I've known for a long time. He's running in Georgia 3. He's going to be a fantastic congressman. District 3, Brian Jack. Very simple name. Don't put him around. You can do it either way, Jack Brian or Brian Jack. He's a great guy. He's been with me for 7 years, and he's always wanted to run for Congress, and this is where he was born, where he grew up. He knows it well. He loves the people. He will be fantastic. You know who Brian is? You do now.
Let's talk money.
Oh, there's another Brian. Well, I think that case has been totally discredited. It was a money-making scheme on behalf of her and her lover, Wade, Mr. and Mrs. Wade. And I think the case has been totally discredited, I would hope. It seems to be. And we'll see how that, and the one in New York is totally discredited. Every legal scholar said they have no case. It's a horrible thing, but it's election interference. It's all run by the White House. Every one of the cases that you mentioned, as an example, Fani Wade, every single case is being run. Civil, criminal, it's election interference because Joe Biden can't put two sentences together. He can't find the stairs off the stage. Joe Biden is using this to try and get elected, and it's a shame. And so far, it's backfiring, as you know, because we just had polls come out, and frankly, they're the best polls I've ever had. This is a disgraceful thing. This is for a third world country, but that's what it is. That's what we have to put up. It's all coming out of the DOJ. A thing like this has never happened before. They're trying to protect a man who's grossly incompetent and the worst president in the history of our country.
Campaign money. How would you say? Hold on. How about campaign money? You already talked to board. How about money? Campaign money. The RNC has been trailing Democrats in campaign fundraising. You're here in Georgia to raise money. Are you going to be able to catch up to Democrats when it comes to campaign cash?
Well, I'm not working very hard at it. The other night, which is an all-time record, I do believe. I think they did 24, and we did 52, and we did it very easily. I didn't need 3 presidents. I did it myself. I didn't need so-called stars. We did it ourselves. The Republican Party has a lot of money coming into it. It's coming in small donations, $61 average. We did some large donors the other night. We broke the all-time record, $52 million. We don't need the money that they. If you remember Hillary Clinton, I had about 1/3 the money that she had, and who won? I'm not exactly sure who won. So we don't need the same kind of money that they need. They need more money because they take care of more politicians. They hand it out like it's gravy. And you know, when you look at what they did with Zuckerbucks and with the lock boxes and everything else, it's really a disgrace. We don't need nearly the money that they need. In Florida, as an example, I put up a very small amount of money. They put $300 million into Florida. I put peanuts into Florida, and I won by 2 million votes. So we don't need the same money that they need. Plus, I had a great 4 years, and Biden has one of the worst presidencies in history, destroying our country. Between Israel and October 7th, that should have never happened. Ukraine and Russia should have never, ever happened. That was something. Russia would have never attacked Ukraine if I were president. The inflation is out of control, and now it's out of control again. They brought down the rate so fast because they want to get elected, and it's going to work out just
Have you called Netanyahu? Have you spoken to Prime Minister Netanyahu? Obviously, the White House is issuing its stark warning. Do you think that the U.S. is not doing enough to show support for Israel, or are you going to go?
Biden has totally lost control of the Israel situation. He has abandoned Israel. He's totally abandoned Israel. And frankly, you know, he's a low IQ individual. He has no idea where he is and who he's supporting. He doesn't know if he's supporting the Palestinians, but he knows one thing. He is not supporting Israel. He has abandoned Israel. And any Jewish person that votes for a Democrat or votes for Biden should have their head examined.
Would you sign an actual abortion ban in Congress? Would you sign it?
Oh, I think they're very happy with my statement because we brought it into what it was. It was always about states' rights, and we brought it there, and everybody's very happy. With the exception of a few people, individual people that have their own agenda, people are very happy with my statement on abortion. And you'll see it'll work out. Everything about abortion, it was all about bringing it back to the states. Every legal scholar, everybody from the Democrats and Republicans, they wanted to bring it back for 53 years, bring it back to the states. I did that, and now each individual state, they're all working it out. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be voting for Brian Jack, this man right here, who's running for Congress, District 3, and he's going to be in Georgia, and he's going to be a big-time politician, and he loves our country, and he loves Georgia.
How do you feel about Fani staying on this case?
Well, she should be on our case. She's been totally discredited. It's shocking that she's on our case. Her lover was thrown off the case, and she should be thrown off with him. Fani Willis did this to get vacations. I mean, you take a look at the kind of money. And by the way, she never paid him back in cash. And if she did, she's got a bigger problem because you can't do that. That's really, she said she took campaign cash and paid him back. You're not allowed to do that. So either way, that's a crime. She's a criminal. So Fani Willis has been totally discredited. That case should end. And I think it's a big insult to Georgia that the case is going forward. I don't know if it's going forward. Nobody knows that. But if it does go forward, it's a big insult to Georgia. She is a corrupt individual. He was corrupt. She was corrupt. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. And I suspect that case is going to be terminated because it has absolutely no credibility.
Hey, Mr. President, let's talk about the polling numbers. Nationally, you're just crushing Biden. It continues to go up. Thoughts on that?
He just said, I'm crushing Biden in the polls. That's true. I appreciate that question. Thank you. Brian, thank you very much. We are doing great in the polls. We have a campaign because they have no policies. The people are destroying our country. They're coming in by the millions and millions and millions. They have no policies that are good. Between Afghanistan, high taxes, big inflation, everything they do is bad. They want to quadruple everyone's taxes. There's no way that a man like this should be even allowed in government. As far as I'm concerned, he's a criminal. And what he's doing with this weaponry of the Justice Department, every single trial that you read about and that you report about, and generally fairly, every one of these trials is run by the DOJ and the White House, every single one, including Fani, because her lover spent 8 hours, I think her lover Wade, spent 8 hours at least on numerous occasions each day working and coordinating with the White House. How do we hurt Trump so that maybe Biden can eke out a victory? I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think the people are going to stand for it. I'm sure the people aren't going to stand for it. These people have weaponized government. They've weaponized the Justice Department. They've done something that nobody has ever done before in this country. It's done a lot in third world countries and banana republics, never in this country. And so far, based on the polls that came out today and over the last fairly long period of time, if you look back over the last 4 or 5 months, I'm leading every single poll, and I'm leading them by a lot. We are a nation in decline. Biden is the worst president in the history of our country. He's corrupt and he's incompetent. He can't put two sentences together. And I think we're going to have a tremendous victory. I predict that November 5th will go down as the most important day in the history of our country. That's Election Day. It's going to be the most important day and moment in the history of our country. We're going to close up our borders, and we're taking all of the criminals out. Because many of the people that came in, they came from jails, they came from insane asylums and mental institutions, many terrorists, many drug dealers at the highest level. They're all coming into our country. I predict that November 5th, it's all going to turn around. We're going to get our country back. This incompetent man that's president, he's a terrible person. He's a terrible president. He's a Manchurian candidate if you look at him, because he gets money from everybody. He's a Manchurian candidate. I predict that Biden is going to be gone. In 6 months now, that's all we have. But 6 months is a long time, because the damage he can do in 6 months, he's done more damage than the 10 worst presidents in the history of our country. There has never been anybody that's damaged our country like crooked Joe Biden. So I predict November 5th, the most important day in the history of our country, and it's going to be Christian Visibility Day. Christian Visibility Day. Christians are going to come out and they're going to vote like never before. Thank you.
Yeah, so you heard all that, right? And yeah, I mean, y'all, oh my God, I don't even know how much more you could even think that, as the way that the country is going right now, that is a failure, in my opinion, on President Biden. I don't know how much more criminal activity we can see out of so many people in these positions that you guys, they're flat out DEI hires that have been set up like an affirmative action like type style to fail. Putting these black women, black people in these positions, and then they get in there and they don't even really know what they're doing. They're getting into stuff, having all these crazy backgrounds, going so extravagant and so dang on radical in their approach. It is really making a lot of folks just look bad. I know they don't represent all black people, but it still look like, oh, here we go again. They choosing Negroes to go after Trump, to do these things, and look how terrible these individuals are. So then they can reflect and look bad on black people as a whole. Absolutely don't, because I ain't a part of that. I'm not a part of that, folks. But no, this is where I get to when I say things like, y'all have no idea how, based off of the position that these people are being put in, look what it's doing. And then y'all want to get mad at me for calling this stuff out. If this was going on with Donald Trump and it was a white lawyer named Fani WIllis, I would do the same thing. If it was a white AG going after President Trump named Letitia, although I don't think her name would be Letitia. It could be. She might have grew up in the hood. No, let me stop. But if there was somebody like that, I still would be doing the same exact thing. I don't care about the color of the individual. I'm going after this person's rhetoric and the narrative that's behind what's driving them to go after him, right? Now, as far as the whole thing of Trump saying you're going to see Christians vote like they never have before, that part, you know, I don't know. I can't see how that may be a possible influx of Christians voting for Donald Trump with the current rhetoric that's going on, because if you really look back during the COVID time, Christians were getting it bad. Even right now, Christians are getting it bad. They can say and do anything towards Christians, but if anything get done to the swedge, if you don't know what swedge is, that's S-W-E-J. Now spell S-W-E-J backwards. Spell it backwards. All hell would break loose, right? Here in America. But at the same time, the swedge people, S-W-E-J, spell it backwards, they're catching a bunch of hell from the people that's saying death to them and all that, right? Yeah. So even with these people that are actually making their ways into schools and things of that, they're going against a lot of the Christians' faith. And it's pretty much saying, damn what Christians say. We don't care what y'all say. We're going to teach your kids what we want to. We're going to say what we want to your kids. We will even come up into your churches and disrupt services without no police arresting them. And don't forget, during the Summer of Love, cutting the statues off of Jesus' head, they dismantling and tearing up things in churches and everything. They're doing a whole lot of things, and nobody is there to defend them. And at the same time, I hate to say this, my brothers and sisters in Christ, y'all weak. Oh, look what they're doing. Have y'all not read that Bible? I don't get it. I don't get why a lot of people think Christians got to be these, oh, we're just going to let them smack us. Well, darling, the Bible says if somebody smack you, turn the other cheek. Read the context of that. Because when no cheek been turned when Peter was about to cut off one of them soldiers' head, wasn't it? Was it? No, not at all. See what I'm saying? Y'all just take things out of context. Christians are not meant to be here to be smacked on, spit on, and pushed around. No, not at all. You smack my cheek and I turn the other one, the minute you start swinging, that means you are going to commit to what you're doing, which means I'm going to respond. It's crazy. But the only reason why they're doing it to you Christian folks that's of that particular mindset that we're just going to take it is because you let them. Guarantee y'all, Christ Tabernacle won't happen there. It won't happen at our church. We got real men that will fight and hit back. We will throw you out of our church. You tried it and we will throw you out. Anyway, you heard what Trump had to say on that and his ordeal. You heard what he had to say about Fani calling her a criminal and calling Joe Biden a criminal. What are your thoughts on the whole ordeal? Whatever the case may be, leave it in the comments below after this video, all right? Don't forget to hit that like button before y'all get out of here. More content to come, all right? I am Ty Smith, Modern Renaissance Man, hoping and praying that every last one of you have food, shelter, and clothing. And most of all, I pray every last one of you guys are in great health mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. God bless you all through Jesus.